I've chosen to use my two-car garage as a workshop and a garage as well. So my tools are stored here. The major power tools are stored against the north wall of the garage. Each of the tools has casters so that tools can be rolled out from the parking spot. And each of the tools has got a connection to my dust collector. And this is the main component. Connected to a plenum again attached to the wall. Each tool has a gate that I can open. To turn on my structure, I have a switch that hangs. A handy location connection from my table saw. Rotated for working the large panels. And maybe show you the dust collection connections. My table saw has the router table incorporated with it, and the router table has a hole in the top with an elbow below connected to a dust collection hose. My router table face has an opening underneath that aligns with that hole on the top of the table. I tried to seal up the cabinet for the saw. Even made some blanking plates over this drive end. So I've got a dust collection hopper built into the base of the stand with a hose coming out of it. So I have the two going into a Y box, and then from the Y box a hose going to my dust collector plenum. This Y box has a flapper valve inside, so I can select where to connect the dust collector, the router or the table saw. And I've got a little knob at the front that rotates that flapper. Over at the wall, then I have a sliding gate that opens and directs suction to this table saw or router, whichever is selected. My planer, also on retracting casters, has a shop-built or homemade dust collector or chip collector on the outlet side of the planer, and just one 4-inch hose. My jointer also has a hopper built into the bottom of the stand and a 4-inch hose connection to pull chips out from the bottom of the hopper. The bandsaw is a little more involved. There's a 1.5-inch hose connected here right below the table. And I don't have a lot of hose and cord on this tool because I normally just pull it out from its parking spot to use it. But I think I can horse it around enough to show you the hose connection. The 4-inch hose connection at the back of the stand. To make this work, seal up the openings around the covers. And cut a large hole in the bottom of the stand to connect to the elbow for the dust outlet. Like I said, it doesn't have swivel casters because I normally just roll it out from the sparking spot to use it. The oscillating spindle sander has only simply one 1.5 inch hose connection. My miter saw has a 1.5 inch hose connection at the blade guard outlet, and then a 4 inch hose connection at the bottom of the shroud at the back. There's a warm air heating diffuser there operating in reverse, collecting dust from the shroud area into the 4 inch hose. And those are the tools that are connected to the dust collector. This is the dust collection system for my main bank of power tools. It consists of a low-cost 1 horsepower dust collector, 5 inch inlet, plumbed to this 96 inch plenum with inside cross section 4 by 5 inch. The plenum has doors, sliding doors, and they're designed so that only one port can be open at any one time. And that's accomplished because the plenum is 96 inches long. The total length of the doors is 91 inches. And so each of the individual doors allows only one 5 inch space to be open at any one time. This system works pretty well. I have no trouble with keeping the blast gates clean. The airflow from the shop vac was greatly improved when I added the pleated paper filter to the outlet. I've lifted the top off the plenum to show the blast gates, or the doors that I can open and close. And now the gate is open at the far end of the plenum, or nearest the dust collector. And as I move the gates, another one opens and the far one closes. So only one can be opened at a time, except for this opening. And I'll explain that in a minute. But basically the gates slide along the top of the plenum and allow only one to be open at a time, except for this third one. I've reinstalled the top layer on the plenum, and you can see that I've got, in addition to the 4 inch outlets, I have a tree for 1.5 inch hoses and a rotating selector. So this is why I have the plenum continuously opening below this selector and I can just rotate the selector to pick the machine that I want to, the dust collector to draw dust from. So a number of the tools have both a 4-inch and a 1.5-inch hose. This hose goes to the blade guard on my table saw. So I have there's 4-inch hoses from the planer, jointer. Bandsaw has a 1.5-inch hose coming from the dust collector right near the right below the table, and the 4-inch hose coming out of the bottom of the bandsaw stand. I have a 1.5-inch hose going to the spindle sander, and 2 hoses to my chop saw. A 4-inch hose to the cabinet, and a 1.5-inch hose. There's one other feature that I'd like to show you, and that is, see if I can, a manometer or suction gauge. There's one other component to my dust collection system that I'd like to mention, and that's something that I run particularly when I'm sanding on my wood turning lathe, and that is the ceiling mounted air cleaner. Hope you enjoyed the video on my dust collection system, and hope you got some ideas worth sharing. Thank you for watching.